First of all, welcome in UAE, and most of people doesn't know anything about Namibia. So give us little idea or light idea about Namibia, where it is, what's there, what I can find.
Namibia is a country in southern Africa, so north of South Africa that most people know, and west to Botswana that a lot of people know as well. It's quite a big country. The good thing about Namibia is it's very, very diverse. So we have a lot of different areas from deserts to wetlands, dunes, a lot of wildlife. So Namibia is a very, very diverse country, so that makes it unique for Southern Africa and even Africa in a whole, because you can see so many different things without traveling to other countries. So you have much more to see in one country when you get there.
Okay. What about the culture in Namibia? It's close to which country? I mean, in the culture, like there is Eastern culture, there is Far East culture. It's different from place to place, and the African culture is totally different than any other place. So, how we can compare between the African culture and the other culture in the Middle East?
Sure. Let me just think quickly there. Are we on already? So our cultures in Namibia, we have different cultures. Obviously, there's German speaking, there's Afrikaans, there's Oshibamu, Damara, Herero. So we've got a lot of different languages and cultures. And how can we compare to the Middle East? Well, I don't think you can really compare it. It's quite unique. Most of the cultures are very unique in what they do. And they are populated all over the country. And let's say in the northern parts, we have more Ovambos and Kavangos. They live in the northern parts of Namibia. And the southern parts, eastern parts, you have your Damaras and your Namas. And we also have Bushmen, which are very interesting as well. Some of them still live nomadic, so they live as many years back they lived. But most of the cultures move to town and try to find work. And yes, it's a westernized world in the end of the day, that people just need to find work and money, and they don't live as they did many decades back. But yes, it's a diverse country. Like Clive just said, the cultures are as diverse as the country is. But I don't think you can compare it to anything else, and I think it's quite unique as well. Very unique cultures. You don't really get them any farther than Namibia, and it's interesting the mix that you have there. That makes it so interesting.
That's good. So compare with what you explained about the country.
Yes.
How long you think that if I would like to have a tourism trip, including the agency, how long I need many days to cover it?
So the best is actually, as I said, because it's very diverse, you have to have like a minimum of, say, 10 days to really experience certain areas. The best would be to at least stay 14 to 21 days, but you can even stay longer. So depending on what areas, what your interests are, if you want to if you want to see more wildlife, then we can go more to the north where you have more wildlife. Yes, 14 days is a good time to spend in Namibia to come and see most of the things that we have on offer.
Okay. People worry about the country, if it is African country, and let's say to be in reality, the African country is not same like Europe country for health and care and all of these things. Some people think like that. I'm not saying it's not, but I know they have a lot of more advanced than any other places. So what you can advise people about this point? If I would like to go there, what kind of food, what kind of health, what kind of medicine I use, if sometimes like mosquitoes or like that, it's everywhere in Africa. So what you can advise anyone would like to go from Emirates or from Middle East to Namibia, what he should care and what he should do?
Well, if you go to Namibia, yes, you've just mentioned the healthcare system. We have a pretty good healthcare system. There's a lot of private clinics, so if you are well looked after in Namibia, that's definitely not a challenge. It's very good. And then you would consult. I think in your country before you leave, you consult your doctor here, and let them just give you a few hints on what to do. But malaria is only in the northern parts of the country, so the whole southern parts, central parts, coastal parts, no malaria at all. So you don't need to take anything really. If you go to the northern parts, it's advisable, yes. And in general, just wear protective clothing like closed shoes at night. We do have some animals that crawl around at night, so it's good to wear that. Bring some sunscreen. We also have a desert in Namibia, so it's advisable to have a sunscreen, a hat. It does get cold as well, so bring a jacket. And in general, you can buy most of the medicine that you could buy here. I think you also get there, so from painkillers to all the basic stuff you will get there, so that's nothing that you really need to bring. If you really need something, you will get it there. And we have a lot of private doctors as well, and a lot of doctors as well, where you can just general practitioners go to, so people can feel really safe in Namibia, and it's a well set up system.
What about the food?
Food, we have lots of different food, lots of influence, obviously a lot of German influence, but also a lot of traditional food. Like I mentioned earlier, the different tribes, everybody eats something different. There's one very popular one, the Ovambos make. It's called kapana. It's strips of meat that you eat with a salsa. It's nice and spicy, but you have all the cuisine you could think of, pizzas, from pizza to German to schnitzel to everything else you would get in most places in the world. So you can choose, but obviously people would like to have Namibian food, so most lodges and hotels can also prepare specific Namibian food for you. Millipap, for example, which is how would you call it? It's a what did you say, Clive? Millipap is it's a pup. It's a staple, yeah. That gets eaten a lot. So very interesting, and you eat it with a sauce and with meat. And Namibia is a meat country, so prepare to eat a lot of meat. You don't have to if you don't want to, but there is a lot of meat eaten there. But specific adjustments can also be made if people have dietary requirements, etc. So we can definitely prepare different types of meals if people really need that.
Very important point for Arab or for the people from the Middle East would like to go. There is what it called halal food.
Yes.
Halal food means which is following the Islamic rules to prepare it. So what about Namibia in this point?
So, yes, Namibia, we can cater for halal. Obviously, we will need to know beforehand. Depending on the specific guests that we have, we will then have to plan ahead a bit, because some of the properties or the accommodation establishments which are smaller might not be able to provide halal food. But especially for the Arabic world, it is possible. You can organize this. It just needs a bit of more planning. All right. There are also Indian restaurants in Namibia which one can use, where one can talk to different lodges to also, as Oliver said, specific requests. So vegetarian. It is possible, but it takes a bit of planning ahead.
Okay, let's talk about the trip itself. If you would like to prepare a program, what you can offer for me to go and see there?
Well, as I said, Namibia is very diverse. So what one would need to find out from the beginning is that what are your interests? I would obviously think that a lot of people coming from the UAE and going to Namibia will now not be too interested to see desert, but as I said, there's a lot of wetlands, there's a lot of animals. We have the big five, so I would say we would concentrate more on that and work around that. It just depends on how long they have. Obviously, every desert is different. We've got very high dunes, different areas as here as well. Maybe some people would like to see that as well. One can always incorporate that. But obviously, a lot of people come to Namibia also to see the wildlife, especially desert elephants, rhinos, cheetahs, and leopards. So yeah, well, that's usually what we can do, and then one can also work around, say, some culture where we can visit the Himba tribes in the north. One can visit Bushman villages. It just depends on each and every person what they want to do. Do they want to do more sport activities? Would they like some hiking? So there's lots of possibilities that we can do.
At the end, what you would like to say to the people who would like to visit Namibia?
Just book a flight and come to Namibia. It's a vast open country. We only have 2.5 million people living there, so you will not see a lot of people during your trip. It's one important thing as well. You will completely detox, I think. No cell phones, no Wi-Fi. We obviously have Wi-Fi, but just switch it off for 2 weeks. Enjoy the scenery. Talk to your beloved ones, your partner, your wife, whoever's traveling with you, your friends. And Namibia is the perfect country for that. So just to get out of the hustle and bustle of every day, I think that's the perfect choice in Africa with all these things that we've just explained.
And you?
Well, yeah, I have to jump onto the bandwagon there with Oliver. Come to Namibia. You know, it's but not as densely populated as you used to. You get away from everything. Come there, look at the stars, look at your fire at night. Come and relax. Once you've been to Namibia, you always come back. Most of our guests come back. You're going to be more relaxed than going to some island, sitting around drinking cocktails. You can do that as well there, but just have some wildlife and some stunning scenery as well. So jump onto the next plane and come to Namibia, and we'll look after you.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.